All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And Shalom to you brothers that are laboring and pushing this word in truth and sincerity and with charity. I'm the brother Abraham from the camp here in GMS Chicago, come to do another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, Lord willing, it be edifying. And what inspired me to do this lesson is from this video here from RT America. It's called Amid Empty Shelves and Worst Inflation in 40 Years. SCOTUS signs death warrant for hospitals. Okay, so there's a lot going on here in this country. All right, first you got the pandemic, right? You have inflation, which is at its worst in the last 40 years. Okay, you got supply chain issue, which is now starting to be seen all over the country. All right, it's affecting your everyday average citizens, your so-called middle class, which is pretty much dead already, because now you just have the poor and the rich. All right, and that gap keeps getting bigger and bigger. All right, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and that's something that happened recently thanks to the pandemic. How is it that now there's more millionaires and billionaires after the pandemic? You know, now that we still have the pandemic, you know, the middle class and the lower classes was suffering, and who got poorer. Okay, and the rich got richer. All right, why? Because they're making money off of you through what? Pharmaceuticals. It's a $1 billion industry, which they make money off keeping you sick. Okay, now they have new serums to inject you with every few months, right? And you know, I'm not gonna continue to talk about that topic because YouTube got sensitive in the last year or so, which we can't even talk about certain things, man. All right, so here's something from the description box here. It says empty shelves in grocery stores and at other retail stores are becoming an everyday sight for shoppers and communities across the U.S. The country is also seeing the highest inflation in the past 40 years and an employee shortage due in part to the wildfire spread of the Omicron variant. It says then U.S. Professor Richard Wolff of the Economic Update and former USTR official Steve Gill share their insights. They say too many U.S. companies rely on just-in-time deliveries and that it allowed vulnerabilities in the supply chain to snowball into the catastrophic situation now facing the U.S. All right, so this country is crumbling before our very eyes, and it's all biblical prophecy. All right, how does all this tie in to biblical prophecy? All right, well, when you go into the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter or the 2nd chapter, right, there are two different similitudes, but it's all about the same thing. All right, the four beasts, the four kingdoms that will reign on the earth. Okay, and all these kingdoms have had their time to rule and their time to fall. And we know that the fourth beast is the Roman Empire. Okay, but the Roman Empire fell, right? Didn't it? All right, so that's the fourth beast that will be in rulership before the Messiah comes. So who's who's in the rulership seat? All right, it's Esau, Edom, and it's through this country, America, aka also known as Babylon the Great, also known as Sodom and Egypt. Okay, and just like all the kingdoms that were before it had their time and to rule. All right, so they had their time to rule, and their time is up. That is why you see the collapse of this kingdom. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play for really. Most of this whole show was pretty good and informative, but I'm not gonna play this for 25 minutes, and we'll be here all day bringing out precepts. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this play, see where the spirit goes, and then take it from there.
What started off as just a few items missing from grocery store shelves has turned into empty aisles and long lines at the self-checkout. What happened to America the Bountiful? And the last time Americans had images of this starkness was during times of World War and Depression. But with all of the afflictions being experienced by Americans, why does this administration continue to talk aggressively on global issues when they have yet to deal with the problems facing Americans at home? Sure, our military...
Right, they want to go around and be the police of the world and bring in their democracy and their so-called righteousness, but they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. They paint this image of them being innocent, being harmless and caring, and as if they care about you, but really they seek to overthrow you, as it says in the book of Psalms, right? Just like they did Gad. The words of their mouth were smoother than butter. Right? Smoother than oil. But war was in his heart. Okay?
Budget might be the highest ever at $753 billion. But with recruitment at its lowest point in recent times, what if the U.S. is forced to put military action behind their incendiary rhetoric? I'm Scotty Nell Hughes, and on today's News Fuse Hughes, we are going to look at what is causing the problems at grocery stores across the country and why politicians are blaming the business community rather than their own suffocating regulations. We're also going to look at the large bonus the Army has just put into effect, all in hopes of retaining and recruiting their force, while at the same time continuing to discharge those who refuse to get the vaccine.
Should we have done that sooner?
We are doing it.
But should we have done it sooner?
We are doing it.
Well, plus Biden is sent out on a damage control tour once again, following another communication mix-up by the vice president, this time regarding at-home COVID testing. There is a lot to discuss, including the Supreme Court delivering the largest blow to the Biden administration, with them striking down the vaccine mandate on large businesses. Let's get started. America, the meager. From empty shelves to lack of tests, shortages of workers to, yes, even a disinterest in joining the military. The United States people are left wanting. Meanwhile, politicians are inserting themselves in a foreign conflict, any foreign conflict it seems.
It is Russia, as you have heard, that has a stark choice to make. De-escalation and diplomacy, which of course remains our preferred course, or confrontation and consequences. Our goal remains the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, and we continue to believe that serious and sustained diplomacy is the only way we'll be able to make tangible progress towards that.
Now, I still can't decide if the focus on foreign conflict is more about getting money back into the greedy hands of defense contractors or to distract from this situation here at home. But one thing is for certain, if a 2-year-old virus and a few inches of snow can cause this big of a disruption in the supply chain, just imagine how upset Americans will be if we go to war and we completely break the chain altogether.
Well, it is going to happen. It is going to get worse. All right, let's go ahead and grab that in Revelations 11 and 14. All right, biblical prophecy. Revelations 11 and 14, the second woe is past. The second world war is what is past. And behold, the third woe, the third war cometh quickly. All right. So what you see, the tensions, the wars and the rumors of wars going on. All right, you got the situation with Ukraine, Russia, United States, NATO. All right, China. There's escalations going on over there in Europe. NATO beefing with Russia over Ukraine. All right, and in biblical prophecy, Russia, the bear, Gog and Magog, are the ones prophesied to destroy this place, man. All right, that's Ezekiel the 38th chapter, Isaiah the 13th chapter, the book, and also in the books of Revelation. All right, the 18th chapter. Babylon is fallen and it can't get up. Babylon is fallen and it can't get up. All right, let's get Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51. Just bear with me 1 second here. Or was it 50? Oh, this is good right here. Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. That's some war drums beating. That's that sound the trumpet, sound the alarm. All right. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right, and America was what for the longest the hammer of the earth, the greatest nation on the earth, where everybody wanted to come over here because of how good it looked on TV. Right? It was that golden cup in the Lord's hand, but in it was full of abomination. All right, and I did a lesson a week or two ago about this girl from Ghana, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. She was living in poverty over there in her homeland, and her and her family decided to move over here to the United States, and they moved over here on the south side of Chicago. And the girl said that it's nothing like I thought it would be compared to what I saw on the TV. Right? She thought she was gonna live a life like Angelina Jolie. as soon as she got here. But all she saw was poverty, racism, murder, drugs, and gangs. All right, and that's all through America's witchcraft. Is that you know, they're illusions to deceive. All right, and they do that through what? Saying that they're the greatest and they're the freest, and they pride themselves in all those things. Okay, but look at the country now. Okay, it's falling, man, and it can't get up. All right, just bear with me a second here while I look for this precept here. Yeah, I can't find it. But let's go back to this video here.
Now, shortages at U.S. grocery stores have become more and more common all in the recent weeks as the fast-spreading Omicron variant and severe weather have piled on to the already existing supply chain issues and labor shortages. So for more on this issue and what we can expect moving forward, we bring in RT correspondent Paxton Boyd.
Shelves are empty of beef, chicken, eggs, fruit, and vegetables, even non-perishable items, hard to find in some grocery stores. Now, in a normal year, 5 to 10% of food items may be unavailable. Today, roughly 15% are out of stock. That, according to Jeff Freeman, president and CEO of the Consumer Brands Association. Officials say things may not get better for the next 12 to 18 months. Now, there are many reasons for this, including an increased demand for groceries with families choosing to eat at home during the Omicron surge. As we saw here in the D.C. metro area last week, winter storms have affected major interstates, and a shortage of as many as 80,000 truck drivers are out nationwide. That's a historic high, according to the American Trucking Association. Because of this, experts say to expect price hikes and food shortages similar to what we saw in 2020. In Colorado, nearly 8,400 employees at Kroger-owned stores have gone on strike over pay and working conditions. Now, here's what you're seeing as a result. On Tuesday, Walmart, Kroger, and Albertsons stocks dipped. Albertsons taking the biggest hit, indicating a trend among major grocers being affected by these supply chain issues. Also, these trips to the grocery store are going to cost consumers even more, with inflation soaring to 7% for the first time in 4 decades. Now, with the United States seeing more than 700,000 cases of COVID-19 per day on average during this Omicron surge, it's slowing down food manufacturers and causing grocery store workers to call out sick.
And we heard reports from companies talking about they've had more positive tests in the past 2 weeks than they had in all of 2020. Those positive tests are taking people off the front lines. It's forcing companies to shut down manufacturing lines preemptively, and it's leading to just simply not enough supply.
Now, experts say store shelves may not return to normal until this pandemic lets up, staffing returns to normal, and the global food distribution network is restored. For RT,
It ain't gonna get any better. There's Isaiah 19:3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Alright, so the spirit of what? Egypt is failing in the midst thereof. Alright, the spirit of America is failing. It's fallen, and it can't get up. Alright, this is what the Lord's doing. Why? Because it's time for them to fall. They had their time to rule, now it's their time to fall. It's that simple. Alright, this is Isaiah 19:14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, which is what you're seeing from this news show from RT, right? Going into every work thereof and not giving you any good news, no good tidings. This is all bad news with no signs of any of this getting better in the near future. Okay? Esther here, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is turning up. Alright? Now let's get this right here. I'm going to jump down to 16. It says Isaiah 19:16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. So what the men here in America are going to be like unto women, which they already are like unto women, but then they're going to be even more like unto women, if that makes any sense. Because over here in America, man, these men are soft. Alright, now let's go ahead and grab the keepers of the house. Alright, these are your so-called watchmen or newscasters or economic experts, financial experts, the ones that pretty much tell you what's gonna go down, which even they are telling you this place is going down. All the financial experts are of gold, silver, precious metals, alright, even Bitcoin. Alright, know that this fiat currency, this dollar, is gonna collapse, and when it does, it's gonna be the biggest collapse there's ever been, the world has ever seen. Alright, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinder cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Okay, so the keepers of the house, right? Back in the day, in the ancient world, alright, and so forth, villages, towns, were boarded up with walls, and at the top of these walls you had a watchtower, where people would keep guard, and when they would see danger come, they will sound a trumpet or sound some kind of alarm that trouble is on the way. Alright, and that's what all of these financial experts, your newscasters, your economic experts are all saying. Alright, that this is gonna get real bad. Alright, the inflation isn't gonna get any better. The supply chain issue isn't gonna get any better. The pandemic isn't gonna get any better, because they make money off of all of this. Okay? And they want what? Control over everything, including you. Alright, there's a labor shortage. Their own army has to increase the sign-on bonus for recruits to join the army, because nobody wants to join anymore. Nobody wants war anymore. Well, guess what? War is coming. The second woe is past, and the third woe cometh quickly. Alright, it's the season of prophecy, the time of prophecy, the time for all this to go down.
America, I'm Paxton Boyd in Washington, D.C.
So let's discuss further and bring in our panel. Richard Wolff, economic professor and author of The Sickness in the System, When Capitalism Fails to Save Us from Pandemics or Itself, as well as Steve Gill, former USTR official under Bush and Clinton. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the U.S. government has devoted $4.5 trillion in total aid spending to combating the effects of the coronavirus, including the economic effects. Yet America has bare shelves and lack of workers. So, Dr. Wolff, with all of the money devoted, why didn't it work?
We have systemic problems in our economic system. They've been accumulating for a long time. They've been kicked down the road. We have imagined that we have the best system in the world, and therefore all our problems will be solved. It's childish. We should not have done it. We should have gotten a wake-up call with how badly we've done in managing this COVID compared to many.
This is an example of one of the keepers of the house.
Other countries, but we didn't. Look, a supply chain, everybody who runs a business knows you have to take steps to cover the eventuality that your inputs or your labor can't come to work. We're in the middle of a COVID disaster for 2 years. You must have understood you have to have backup. You have to have workers that will come if the front line doesn't. You have to take those steps, and they're going to cost you money, and they're going to eat into your profits. But if you don't do it, well, then we get the situation with which you opened the program.
And I think one of the things that's most frustrating about this, Dr. Wolff, is even if companies had those backup plans ready to go, they were not anticipating how much the government was going to involve themselves in. That's what I want to throw to you, Steve. This hashtag bare shelves Biden is being used. So is it fair to put all of the blame on this administration and the decisions made by Congress just this past year?
Well, it's fair to put most of the blame certainly on them, but I'd agree with Dr. Wolff that, this has been a problem that's been building for a while. We've had companies in the U.S. that have increasingly relied upon just-in-time delivery, and when there's any disruption in it.
Now, despite the multiple issues here at home, the representatives from the United States continue to speak as though they are ready to fight if their wishes are not acted upon. But just like every other industry in America, our military forces are also facing a labor shortage. So much so, the United States Army is now offering the largest enlistment bonus ever at $50,000. Now, this incentive is for qualified recruits who sign up for certain career paths, and they must agree to a 6-year active duty enlistment. Now, the blame for low numbers is being put on the pandemic and the lack of recruitment allowed in schools. But is there more to it? So let's ask Colonel Rob Maness, a 32-year-old USA combat vet and host of the Rob Maness Show. Rob, thank you so much for joining me on this.
So now even their army has a shortage. Alright, and they're doing this to themselves, man. They're shooting themselves in their own foot. Alright, this is Sirach 10. I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And Esau, Edom, alright, how they got America was nothing but by unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. They stole, murdered, robbed, pillaged everything that they have. Alright, and everything that they swallowed up, they shall vomit up again. Alright, it says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such an one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth he casteth away his bowels. And Esau Edom, he's the proudest man ever, man. Okay, he's a covetous man. He's never satisfied. Okay, verse 10. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. Alright, and that physician is Yahushua, and he's coming to take away the disease, the cancer of the earth. Alright, that thanks to Esau Edom spread all over the earth, right? 2nd Ezra 15 says wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. That was thanks to Esau Edom. Why? Because that's who he was created to be. He was as it says in Revelations, the 6th chapter, that red horse represents power. All right. And it was given to him what? A great sword to take peace from the earth. And that's exactly what he did. All right. But now what? Their iniquities, their sins, the judgment has reached unto the heavens. And now it's time for this man, this queendom, to go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Lord willing, this video was edifying. As always, our honor, glory, and praises goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Until next time, Shalom.